Hello, I'm Susanna, and this is The Adventures of Purl and Plain by Joyce Lankester Brisley. And for those who know Millie Molly Mandy, you'll be familiar with Joyce Lankester Brisley. And this is one of her lesser-known storybooks about two adventurous wooden Dutch dolls. And like a lot of her work, she has beautiful illustrations all the way through the book. This was published by George G. Harrop in 1941. And I'm going to read Adventure in the Coal Cellar. Once upon a time, Purl and Plain were lying stiff and straight in their shoebox bed in the nursery. They had to lie so because there wasn't enough room for them to both lie any other way. They had been lying in bed like this for 2 days, as well as nights, and of course, being adventurous dolls, they were getting very tired of it. "Purl," said Plain, quite loudly and suddenly, "if I lie here 1 minute longer, I shall kick the bed into tiny little pieces." "Oh, Plain," said Purl nervously. "Then we'd better get up at once and not wait till we're taken out, hadn't we?" So they got up, and it didn't take long for them to dress, for their shoes and socks were painted on their feet, and their cotton petticoats were strongly stitched round their waists. There were only their spotted and plaid frocks to get into, and their sashes to tie. "Now," said Plain, doing some brisk exercises to take the creak out of her wooden joints, "what do we do today? I'm feeling very adventurous, I can tell you." "So am I, Plain," said Purl, carefully washing round her pink face with a drop of milk from the cat saucer. "I was thinking in bed. We've explored outdoors in the garden and upstairs in the attic, but what is there downstairs?" "Well, kitchen, of course," said Plain, "and scullery and larder." "Is that all?" said Purl, disappointed. "Well, there's the broom cupboard," added Plain, "and, of course, the very thing. We'll go there at once. Hurry, hurry." "What? Why? Where?" asked Purl, quite startled. "To the coal cellar, of course. The very place for exploring. Why didn't we think of it before? Hurry!" So they clattered across the floor to get the useful things needed for exploring. Scent bottle full of water, crust of bread, pink Christmas candle, doll's house frying pan, and a piece of string all tied up in their spotted and plaid shawls. Then with bundles on their backs, they crept as creepily as they could on wooden feet out of the nursery and down the stairs. There seemed miles and miles of stairs, so part of the way they took a shortcut through the banisters and let themselves down one at a time by their piece of string to the hall below. They were sorry to have to leave the string behind, but they couldn't think how to get it down from the banister without climbing up the stairs again to untie it, which would have spoilt the shortcut. The basement stairs were rather dark, and they had to go carefully. They were just having a little rest on the bottom step and a little sip of water out of the scent bottle to refresh themselves, when they were startled by hearing a loud voice above them say, "Well, now, look at all this clutter on my stairs. You'd better clear yourselves off double quick if you don't want to get walked on." It was a great big housemaid coming down with the tray. Purl and Plain grabbed their bundles and scuttled off, hiding behind a long rough curtain till the housemaid had gone. "It's best not to annoy those giants," said Plain. "I wouldn't even stop to answer her back, did you notice?" "I thought you were too frightened," said Purl. "Frightened, indeed," said Plain, "as if anything could frighten me. Oh, what's that?" There was a gas meter over their heads, and it made an odd ticking sound. Plain grabbed her bundle again and bolted to the end of the passage, with Purl close behind. "It's always best to run from those things," Plain explained, when she had got her breath. "You never know what they may do. They have to have big men in uniform to look after them quite often. Come on now, here's the coal cellar." "My, isn't it dark?" said Purl. "The pink candle," said Plain. "This is what we brought it for." "We haven't any matches," said Purl. "Phew," said Plain. "Explorers never have. We have to make one." She looked about and found a thin chip of firewood, which she broke to the size of a match. Then she rubbed the tip in coal dust till it was black. "There you are," she said proudly. "But we haven't a box to strike it on," said Purl. "You don't have to have a box," explained Plain patiently. "It's the sort of match you strike anywhere. Men do it on the soles of their boots, like this." She kicked up her wooden foot, but though she tried from front and back, she couldn't reach to strike the match on it. So after nearly toppling head first down the big stone steps, she had to scrape it on the sole of Purl's painted boot instead. She put the match to the pink candle wick, and then, of course, they could see quite clearly. It was a most exciting place. There were black mountains of coal everywhere, except just by the steps where there was a box of firewood, a great chopper, and a big black shovel. "That shows the giants come here, digging for treasure most likely," said Plain, who always knew everything. "I don't see why we shouldn't find some treasure and make our fortunes." So they began clambering over the coals, wishing they had their piece of string so that they could rope themselves together like proper mountaineers. Plain found a chunk of coal with a little tiny shiny golden patch in it. "There, you see," she exclaimed excitedly. "That's gold, that is. We can sell it for thousands and hundreds of pounds." But the coal was too heavy for them to carry. Purl found a dusty bit of bacon rind and held it up. "Look here, we can fry it in our frying pan and have a good meal. It must be nearly dinner time." So they set the pink candle down and held the doll's frying pan over it till the bacon rind was properly cooked. And then they ate it all up, with half the crust of bread each and a little sip of water to finish, and found it very good indeed. Then they climbed on again. Presently they came to a place like a little cave among the coals. "Ooh," said Purl, "what do you suppose lives down there?" "Wild animals, I expect," said Plain. "Better hurry." Purl scrambled away so quickly that she started a small avalanche of coals rolling down the mountainside. Plain gave a shrill squeak, and Purl looked back in time to see a rat with a long tail and bristling whiskers come rushing out of the hole. So suddenly did it come out that Plain couldn't get out of the path, and she was carried along on its back for quite a way before being tumbled off, head over heels, into the coal dust at the bottom, while the rat vanished into another hole. Purl came scrambling wildly down over the great black rocks to aid her twin. But before she could reach her side, Plain sat up and waved her arms excitedly. "Did you see me ride?" she cried. "I rode on that wild animal, bareback. I don't suppose anyone's ever ridden him before." Purl stopped hurrying and began to feel quite envious. However, she only said, "Goodness me, aren't you dirty? And I'm afraid, Plain, you've gone and broken your nose." But Plain was so full of her wonderful adventure that she didn't care a bit, for though it was the only nose she had, it was a wooden one, of course. "I rode a wild animal bareback all the way down the mountainside," she kept saying as she got up and brushed herself, "and it was galloping too." "You rolled head over heels half the way," said Purl. "You are dirty. We ought to go back now and wash." So they left the coal cellar and crept upstairs to the bathroom, where Plain sponged her face and hands and washed her dress out. While it was drying in the sun on the nursery windowsill, Plain looked at her reflection this way and that in the glass. "My nose did get a bit knocked," she said. "It looks almost turned up. I think it's quite becoming. Riding is supposed to improve one's looks. Do you know, Purl, I shouldn't wonder if they made us change names when they see me looking so handsome after my ride." Purl stared at her. "I don't think they will, Plain. Not just yet," she said. Then, feeling very pleased with their adventure, the two little dolls got back into their shoebox bed and lay stiff and straight, as if nothing at all had happened.